Hi everyone, so my full face of ultimate favourite products of 2021 has already gone live. If you haven't seen that already, I will link it up here for you, and I'll also link it at the end of this video. But during that video, I did ask everyone if they wanted to see a full face of all my affordable favourites. Actually, also my affordable cruelty-free favourites. And 95% of the people that commented in that video wanted to see that. So today, I am filming that for you, and I'm super excited to get all of my favorite affordable products on my skin. So we're going to get straight on with that. If you're new here, hi, my name's Gemma. I upload new videos on YouTube every single week, and I'm also on Instagram if you fancy checking me out over there. And I'd really appreciate it if by the end of this video you've enjoyed what you've watched, you click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. Okay, so I've just mentioned affordable and cruelty-free products. Every single one of the products that I'm going to be applying to my skin today is affordable and is also cruelty-free, bar one, and I will give you a cruelty-free alternative for that product. So let's get straight into it. I'm going to be applying an eyeshadow primer. This is from Beauty Bay and it's their eye base. This is the shade 2 and it's the perfect shade for me. I absolutely love this. It's really lightweight. It's a really loose consistency and it just does everything you need it to do. So it creates a great base for all of my eyeshadow, but it also covers up any discoloration, any redness, any capillaries that are showing. It's just amazing. So it does look like I have a huge zit on my chin. Not that there is anything wrong with having a huge zit, by the way, but yeah, this is not a zit, it's a scratch. I broke my nail earlier on and swiped my skin by accident and took the top off my skin, and it was quite painful. Just no skin left on that area, which is great when I'm going to be applying makeup today anyway. It is what it is. Let's jump straight into eyeshadow. My favourite affordable palette of 2021 goes to Colourpop. This is the That's Taupe palette. And the shades in here are just stunning. They are all cool toned. The quality of the shadows are excellent for the cost. They're really smooth. They're not overly dry and powdery, which I really like. And they're really pigmented. I just love the colour story in here. It's right up my street. It's neutral. It's really safe. I just love it. So I'm going to pop into this shade here, which is called Pebble Beach, with my large fluffy brush and just pack that on the outside, which will give a guideline of where I actually want to be blending to in the crease. Such a gorgeous transition shade. These are so wearable, daytime, evening. It's just a lovely palette. Then I'm going to take this deeper shade Rocksteady and just tap my flat brush in this. These are pigmented enough not to load the brush up massively, which means you don't get masses of fallout either, which is another reason that I really like this palette. And I'm just patting that on that outer edge and just pushing it into the crease. So instead of buffing and blending, I'm literally just tapping that to blend it out. Don't want to overly blend this. I don't want to bleach it out in any way. I just want to create a really soft blend. And I don't think I'm going to go any deeper than that. If it was an evening, I would possibly go into the shade Bedrock and deepen that outer edge a little bit more. But this is for a daytime look for me, so I just want to keep it quite soft. Then I'm going to take the shade Boa and pop that all over the rest of the lid that doesn't have any shadow on at the moment. Really nice. Just mattifies everything off, which is a very flattering look, especially if you have slightly crinkly eyelids. It can be extremely flattering. So I've just added a hint of sparkle to the centre of the lid using the shade Slated, which is the most stunning shade. It's just the right amount of sparkle. and I've just added it to the center of the lid and nowhere else. I don't want it to creep too high or too close to the inner corner of the eye. I just want it to sit in the center and make my eyes look wider and more awake. There are a lot of people that would say that once you hit a certain age, you should no longer be wearing sparkles or metallics on the eyelid. Please don't listen to those people. If you want to wear sparkle on your eyelids, you should wear sparkle on your eyelids. It is completely true that some sparkles and some metallics can accentuate texture on the eyelids. So if you do have quite crinkly eyelids, quite wrinkly eyelids, you may want to steer clear of the metallics or the sparkles if you're wanting to disguise those wrinkles. Just stick to mattes if that is the case. But if you want to wear metallics or sparkles, wear them, please wear them. We only get one life. Makeup is fun. Do what you like. Next, I'm going to put a little bit of eyeliner on that top lash line. Now, the reason I'm doing this now rather than waiting until my face is done is to give the liner a chance to completely set before I curl my eyelashes a little bit later on. Otherwise, when I curl my eyelashes, I may lift some of the eyeliner, and just by giving it that little bit of extra time to set will stop that from happening. My favorite affordable eyeliner is from NYX. This is the Epic Wear Liner Stick. Now, this is my favorite shade that they do. I perhaps shouldn't be using this for this sort of color story I'm going for today, but it is my favorite, so I'm going to use it, and I don't have any of the other shades in this collection. I will be buying some more though, because a really soft brown would look stunning with this look today. This is the shade All Time Olive. So I'm not going all the way along. I'm just going to do my usual trick of starting from the center and dragging out. And as you can see, it's very easy to apply. You don't have to apply very much pressure at all, so you're not dragging the skin. Very, very easy. Actually, this shade looks very nice. So I absolutely adore that. If you are one of those people that likes to stay away from glitter or sparkle or metallic shadows for the reasons that I said earlier on, then adding more of a metallic eyeliner to the top lash line, really quite close to the lashes, will give you that extra little bit of zhuzh without emphasizing any of your eyelid crinkles. So maybe a good way of adding a bit of sparkle into your life without adding it all over the lid. Okay, so I'm going to apply a little bit of primer to my skin. I get asked about my favorite primers all the time. The fact is, I don't use primers often enough to have ultimate favorites. There are some primers that work better with some of my foundations and other primers that work best with others. So I don't necessarily have an ultimate favorite or an affordable favorite, but I really like the NYX Marshmallow Primer. I think it's really nice. It smooths everything out and it's not drying. It's really quite hydrating on my skin. So this is the one that I'm going to be using today. And it also works really well in conjunction with the foundation that I've chosen to use today. So I'm just applying one pump, and that should do the trick for my entire face. I'm just going to apply and smooth outwards. I also love the smell of this, which everybody says smells like marshmallows. I think it smells like bubblegum. But yeah, it's not always my preference to go out smelling like bubblegum, but I didn't like this when I first got it, but I've got used to it now and I really like it. So I've had an umming and ahhing moment this morning deciding which foundation I'm actually going to apply, because I had a couple in the affordable cruelty-free category. The first one is the one that I'm actually going to apply. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Believe It Foundation and Concealer, but I also really, really love the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation. I just think it's stunning. It wears on me beautifully, but yeah, this is the one that I've chosen to wear today. The only problem that I have with this foundation is the shade range in the UK is extremely limited, and the shade Fair to Light, which is the one that I've gone for, is slightly too deep for my skin. Actually, it's pretty much perfection when I first put it on, but then it oxidizes slightly, making it slightly too deep for my skin. Whereas the Flower Beauty one is perfection all day long on me. But yeah, this just makes my skin super flawless. So it's the one that I'm wearing today. Maybe I should just try the shade Fair, but I've got a feeling that the shade Fair is too pinky toned on me. Maybe I'll try it again. Now the scratch on my chin will not cover. I mean, there's no way that bare skin is going to cover with anything. This is raw, broken skin. It's just not happening. I will try my best. I really love that. I just think it is smoothing. It's incredibly simple to apply. It's got a lovely luminous finish without looking sweaty. So it's not a dewy finish. It's not a matte finish. It's somewhere in between with that luminosity. It's a goodie. Okay, I'm going to do my brow as well. The foundation properly melts into my skin. This one is from NYX and it's the Brow Glue. Now, I hardly ever pick this up. Usually I go for my ultimate favourite rather than my affordable favourite, but we're going to give this one a go today. It's definitely the one with the most hold that's affordable for me. So I like to brush my brows backwards to coat the back of the brows. And then I brush in the direction that I want to go in on the front. This is such a great product. Ultimate hold, and for the price, I mean, you just can't complain. And then I'm just going to press the brow hairs back a little bit to give them even more hold. So I really like that. Like I said, it's nowhere near as good as my ultimate favorite, but it's a fraction of the cost. So definitely worth giving a go if you've not tried this before. Highly recommend it because it's got great hold. So my brows look a little bit weird now, so I'm going to fill them in with my NYX Lift and Snatch. This is in the shade Ash Brown and it has the best tip. It's so fine, it's really easy to use, and you can get those really crisp hair-like strokes. So I'm just going to fill in where I want to be filled in using little hairs. Okay, so my brows are now complete, but it's been a challenge. So I've never used these two products together. Now, you will know if you watched my previous video on my full face of ultimate favorites or all of the favorites of 2021 series that the NYX Lift and Snatch is my ultimate favorite. And also my affordable, cruelty-free favourite. So it's an all-rounder, it's absolutely amazing. But these two products do not work well together. So this leaves a slight residue on the surface of the skin, which this does not cling to. So I've actually had to go in with my trusty NYX Microbrow Pencil to finish this off because it just looked awful. It really did. And it's still not up to the standards that I would like. So although I love this on its own, it's got great hold, if you can push that extra mile, check out my ultimate favourite video because, I mean, that works with absolutely everything. Let's swiftly move on to colour correction. My favourite affordable cruelty-free colour corrector is from Revolution. This is the Conceal and Correct and it's in the shade Peach. I love this stuff. And I'm just going to apply the tiniest amount. Take my small brush and just apply that where I need it. So I'm just covering over any bluey discoloration that I have under the surface of my skin, and it cancels it out pretty much immediately. How good is that? So once that under eye pigmentation's been neutralised, I'm moving on to concealer. My favourite affordable cruelty-free concealer is from e.l.f. It's the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This stuff is like gold. It's unbelievable quality for the amount that you pay. I have the shade Fair Beige and I'm just going to pop a bit of this on the back of my hand and then apply it with my fingertips. So this gives a lovely finish to the surface of the skin. It's not dewy, it's not radiant, it's luminous. So it does set down, but it's not flat matte. And if you're wanting a little bit more coverage, I do like to add a little bit of the original e.l.f. Camo Concealer into the mix. That does also mattify it down slightly more. But I love the fact that this is hydrating. This concealer has phenomenal coverage and it doesn't look heavy. I do think, in my experience, if I do apply this with a brush, it looks slightly heavier, but applied with the fingertips or with a sponge, this looks really quite natural underneath the eye. So I've let that dry down for a little minute. Now I'm going to set it in place using my Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder. This is really nice. I'm not going to lie, I don't reach for this on a daily basis. I reach for my ultimate favourite, but if you are on a budget, this is excellent stuff. It really is. So I'm just going to tap a damp blending sponge into the powder. I'm not swiping. As you can see quite a lot of the powder on my damp blending sponge, so I'm just going to tap it on the back of my hand to take off a little bit of that excess and then go in under the eye. You don't want a lot of powder under the eye because it'll just cake things up as the day goes on. You just want enough to set that in place. That is definitely enough. And it does what it says on the tin. It also brightens. Okay, I'm going to finish off the under eye using the That's Taupe palette, taking the Rocksteady shade first, which was on the outer edge, and I'm just dusting that right on the outer corner. Then I'm going to take Pebble Beach and go over that shade and slightly further in just to smoke that out a little bit. Then I'm going to take the shade Boa and I'm just going to melt all those shades together and really smoke it out. Such a beautiful soft look. So like I said, I only have the All Time Olive shade in the NYX Kohl pencil. I will be getting more shades in this because it's such a beautiful pencil. But at this point, when I'm creating a look like this, I would usually tightline and also do the lower waterline. So I'm going to go off camera and do that because I don't have an affordable product to use for this purpose. I am going to be using a cruelty-free product, however, and also one of my ultimate favourites. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Super Nudes Liner Duo. So I will be right back. Curl my lashes. And then move on to mascara. This is the e.l.f. Lash It Loud mascara. I have loved this ever since it was released. I love the wand that comes with this. It coats every single lash. I love the formula of the mascara. It doesn't melt on my upper lids. It doesn't transfer. It's not overly wet, but I don't find it drying on my lashes either. So you may need to just powder those upper lids slightly if you live in a hot, humid country, but I just love how this makes my lashes look. So fluttery and long and yet voluminous all at the same time. Love it. Let's add a little bit of definition back into the skin and bronze this up a little bit. My favourite affordable and cruelty-free bronzer goes to Milani. This is the Silky Matte bronzer in the shade 02, which is Sun Kissed. It's a cool tone bronzer. We all know that I love a cool tone bronzer. Anything overly warm on me, even though I look good in warm colours, anything overly warm when it comes to a bronzer makes me look orange. Oompa Loompa is not really my thing, so this is perfect on me, and because it's cool tone, you can use it as a contour shade as well as a bronzer. So this is the one that I'm going to be using today. I love it. It is slightly too deep for my skin tone, so I do have to be slightly more careful than I do with other bronzers that are slightly fairer, but maybe I'll try the 01. I think I've tried the 01 before and it just didn't show up on my complexion, but maybe I'll try it again. So as you can see, it's not perfectly blended. It's a little bit slapdash, especially on my forehead, but I will deal with that a little bit later on. For now, I'm going to apply the tiniest bit of highlighter on the tops of the cheeks and also underneath my brow bone. This is the product that is not cruelty-free. It's from Revlon and it is the Prismatic highlighter in the shade 201, which is Daybreak Glimmer. I adore this. It is beautiful. It is subtle. Just stunning. This gorgeous. So if you want an alternative that is cruelty-free, I highly recommend the Milani Baked highlighter in the shade Champagne Gold. Stunning. Okay, moving on to blush. Now I have two options and I've already picked the one that I'm going to be using today. I had two affordable and cruelty-free favourites in my blush and bronzer favourites of 2021 series, so I'm spoilt for choice. Today I'm going to be using the Milani Baked blush in the shade Luminoso, which is 05. It is the prettiest blush. I mean, not ever. I change my mind all the time on what is the prettiest blush ever, but you all know that I'm a bit of a blush girl. I do love my blush. If it was a choice between bronzer and blush, blush would win, hands down. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of this to my brush and just dab it on the tops of my cheekbones and around the temples, and it's just divine. So don't worry if you do a bit of blush overkill. I mean, I do this on a daily basis. I do love a lot of blush. As long as it's blended out beautifully, it really doesn't matter. And I am going to go over with a finishing powder in a second, so everything will become slightly more muted anyway. So I'm just whacking it on. Now, I think that's gorgeous anyway. I would be quite happy to go out with blush this vibrant, but for a lot of people that will be way too much. So I'm going to take a finishing powder. This is the e.l.f. Halo Glow setting powder. You can use this as a setting powder. You can use it as a finishing powder. It's just lovely. It's really quite finely milled, not as finely milled as some higher end setting or finishing powders, but it has a lovely finish to it. There is a slight bit of radiance to this powder, but it doesn't frighten me off in the slightest. I'm going to take a powder brush and I'm really going to town in the lid, swirling that round, knocking off the excess. And then I'm going to go in on the cheeks first and buff all that into the skin. And you can see the difference immediately. This is the side that's had the finishing powder on it. This is the side that hasn't. Can you see how much more muted and at one with the skin all these products are? I'm going to add a little bit of setting spray before I do my lips. This is, once again, from Milani. It's such a great brand. This is the Make It Last setting spray, and it's a really lovely fine mist. Pretentious wafting. So the setting spray will not only make your makeup last so much longer throughout the day, it also melts any sort of powdery residue into the skin. So if you've added a little bit too much powder, perhaps, you won't notice. It will just disappear and become one with the skin. I feel like Yoda today. I'm saying that a lot, aren't I? Become one. Okay, so I'm going to apply a little bit of a lip liner. This is one of the NYX lip liners in the shade Nude Pink. It's a really nice, creamy, soft lip pencil doesn't drag the skin as you're applying it. It's not overly waxy, but it will hold all of your lipstick in place. So if your lipstick does tend to bleed, this is strong enough to make sure that your lipstick doesn't bleed, but not overly waxy, so it clings in some places and not in others. So you get dark patches and then light patches, which I really don't like. It's one of my pet peeves with any lip liners. So even though this is very close to my lip colour, I always like to line my lips for the reason that it keeps my lipstick looking fresher and crisper for longer. This is another one of those products that I need more shades in, because I could really have done with something a little bit warmer toned and darker for this video, but it's such a lovely product, and it really doesn't matter what colour your lip liner is as long as you're doing it before your lipstick. If you're one of those people that likes to line your lips after you've applied your lipstick, which is perfectly fine, in fact it really does help to create that crisp edge to your lipstick, then you will need something that matches a little bit better. But the lipstick that I'm going in with today is another Milani product. This is the Lip Fetish lipstick in the shade Lustful, and I love this shade. These are super hydrating and also long wearing. It feels luxurious on my lips. I don't think you can go wrong with a Milani lipstick. I've got quite dry lips at the moment, and you wouldn't notice when this is on. It's so hydrating, so nourishing. Oh, and it feels lush. So that's the finished look using all of my favourite affordable and cruelty-free products of 2021. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful in some way. I hope you love the finished look. Do let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below, and hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.